Live in a minute or so, but I like to at least start the feed before right at the time because it seems to delay and drag at times. And so I'm starting the feed. We are going to be talking about bankruptcy because that's a fun topic and cycles that bankruptcy attorneys should at least know if they're looking at building a business around bankruptcy law. And I called this the busiest day of the year for bankruptcy attorneys. So we're going to jump into that in 1 second. I hope everyone is doing well and that I think it's Tuesday today, right? Sometimes it's hard to keep track. Do you ever have problems keeping track of the day? That's where I'm at, is having problems keeping track of the day that we have. Um, so get started in just like 30 seconds here. But I think it's Tuesday and Thanksgiving is next week. Lots of fun things going on in the bankruptcy and non-bankruptcy world. So give it a couple more seconds for people to join. There should be ability to chat if you have questions or if you want to jump in and say anything regarding your experience with the bankruptcy cycles that are out there, but feel free. So it's 6 o'clock. My stream got up and running before. And so it's 4 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 o'clock on the East Coast. And today's live is all about the busiest day of the year for bankruptcy attorneys. And the reason why I'm setting this up like this is because if you are thinking of opening a practice or you are ramping up a practice, now is the time to do that because January 2nd will be the busiest day of the year for people to call and make appointments and schedule to have a consultation with your firm. And I guess you probably can guess the reason for that. Although a lot of people always are like, wait, I never thought about that. People make New Year's resolutions to get out of debt and lose weight, usually. Those are the two that are out there. We can help with one, I can't help with the other. So oftentimes January 2nd tends to be the busiest day for phone calls and for people to make appointments with bankruptcy law firms because they've made that resolution and they're going to get it done. Now, if you look at the calendar this year, which I have getting open in front of me, January 2nd is a Thursday, which is a good thing for bankruptcy attorneys because we're not in that weird weekend where January 1st and 2nd are weekend and we don't go back to work until the 3rd. The 3rd then would probably be the busiest day of the year. But this year, January 2nd is Thursday. So I'm assuming most people are going to be going back to work on that January 2nd, Thursday. Call, they'll make appointments. Now, bankruptcy work is very predictable and it's very predictable. And you wouldn't necessarily think that. You're like, well, people don't know they're going to be in financial stress and all of a sudden they need a bankruptcy attorney. Yes, that's true. Specific people may not be calling you on January 2nd, but bankruptcy work is very, very predictable. I can predict out when high months and low months are going to be based on 15 years of experience in the bankruptcy industry. And having those highs and lows scheduled into your plans is a great way to keep your firm going on the high end. And when business is slow, you'll know why it's slow. It's not because you did something wrong. It's because those are the cycles. Today, I'm just talking about January 2nd because January 2nd is it's like my, Super Bowl when it comes to bankruptcy work. And a lot of people are right now in November and December, they're using credit. They're using taking on debt during the holidays. It happens every year, whether it doesn't matter what's going on. There's debt, financial stresses, and no one's doing anything about it. How many of us are sitting when we get an email for a meeting and for any meeting, for any job, you're like, oh, that's a January problem, or I'll take care of that after the holidays. We're kind of into that mode of, I'm just going to, last 6 weeks of the year. I'll worry about that in January. Very, very common with bankruptcy clients to do that same thing. Bankruptcy attorneys can't do that. You have to get set up in November and December to be able to accept the high volume. And bankruptcy attorneys right now are very busy. Work has picked up dramatically this year. And so if you can imagine how busy you are now, when it may not be a high end of a cycle, think of what January 2nd is going to look like. There are other times of the year that you should be very prepared for surges as well. I talk about those in my online workshop I have coming up, but January 2nd, I'm just going to keep saying it. The pitfalls that I see for people or for bankruptcy attorneys, especially when it comes to not planning for January 2nd, is first of all, it's hard to jump right into it. So a lot of us want to ease into the new year. We don't want to necessarily jump right into the new year, and our clients are ready to jump in. And so one of the mistakes I often see is the being not ready on that first opening day of bankruptcy season, I'll call it, and not being able to handle that post-holiday rush, not be able to have the systems in place, maybe not have your phone set up correctly so that if your phone's ringing, maybe you don't have your appointment scheduler on your website. So now is the time to do that. Make sure that you have your system set up, that you've done a perception versus reality review of what your clients are experiencing when they try to make an appointment with you, and have your workflows, your automations all built out so that when January 2nd hits and your clients are calling and calling and calling to get appointments, they can make an appointment, first of all, and you're not scrambling. You're not already behind the eight ball on January 3rd. Again, I'd like to ease into the year, but that has never been the case in any of the years that I have been practicing bankruptcy. The other downfall you have if you're not ready for that rush in January is you may lose clients due to poor follow-up or lack of marketing. If you don't have your automation systems put in place to follow up, let them know what you need. If they schedule an appointment on your website, what do you send them right away that tells them that someone's paying attention to their case? What do you have your new client packet ready to go? Do you have your welcome packet? Do you have your form set up? All of those things have to be done in November, December, because by January, I promise you, you'll call me and say, I don't have time to do it now because I'm so busy. And then you're struggling because you could be taking on more clients and making more money, but you don't have a system to do it. The other thing to be thinking about, finally, as we kind of go through why January 2nd is the busiest day and how to set yourself up. A lot of attorneys miss out on the pre-marketing for January 2nd. You could be marketing as the resolution, solve your financial problems, get out of debt, all of those things. As there's a lot of scams out there too. Please don't become like a bad late night television commercial. But you could already be prepping for that, in January, and you want to get out of debt. I'm the person you call in January, and you want to fix your finances, experiencing financial stress, holidays, the post-holiday, letdown. I'm the one you call. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to be the one who's going to help you through this. You have to start priming the pump, so to say, now, so that people know where to go on January 2nd when they're trying to make their appointment. So if you're planning on opening up your firm in January, which I have a lot of people who are opening up firms in January, and I've backed them all up and talked them all out of that idea. You may be able to start taking clients in January, but you need to start building that out now and making sure that you have those systems there and you're already talking to people about what you do, because you don't want to miss that day of resolutions. Because how many New Year's resolutions do we all fail on by January 3rd? Have to take advantage of that typical psychology of someone who's in financial stress. And it's not necessarily take advantage, but meet them where they're at. It's understanding what they're going through when they're going through it. The more you understand that, even throughout the whole year, there are days I can predict calls, because if you go through the whole year and you look at what's happening, either from a holiday standpoint, from financial standpoint, you can predict every year the high call days. And I will go through all of that at my online workshop in a couple weeks. But you have to make sure that your process is airtight. Do not wait till January 2nd to say, oh, my firm is open. That may be the first day you're taking appointments or the first day that you're meeting with clients, whether it's Zoom, phone, or in person, but it shouldn't be the first day of your law firm. January 2nd should not be the first day of your law firm. Get your simple marketing plan ready to run now. Clients need to find you when they're looking and stressed. And when they are stressed and overwhelmed, they do not make great decisions because our brains are foggy. Our brains, as soon as we start getting overwhelmed, they're going to go to the easiest choice or the what's easiest to find because they can no longer think straight. And we're all guilty of that, no matter what stress you're under. As soon as something becomes hard and our brains go foggy, we jump to, well, this sounds like the easiest thing for me to do right now. So start learning about that psychology. I do a whole hour on debtor psychology in my online workshop. And make sure you know how to communicate your value so that on January 2nd, the people that are overwhelmed, they're looking for someone who can simplify the process. That doesn't mean you have to handhold them. That's the other misconception out there, is that the attorney is the one who has to handhold them through every step. There's great automations out there. There are fantastic ways to make your business run and them to feel like their hands are being held without you being the one to push the button to do it. Get those systems in place now. Gear up for January 2nd. And then coming off of January 2nd, there are all kinds of highs that we can target them throughout the year for various marketing purposes and system setups. So these are just basics. And I don't know if people realize that how busy January is for bankruptcy attorneys or not. But putting it out there, something to think about if you're looking at doing bankruptcy work. I do have an offer to share, because what kind of fun would this be if I didn't have an offer to share? I am running my live course one more time this year. So my live course is building a bankruptcy practice from start to finish. And it is a 2-day course that walks you through how to build a bankruptcy practice in 2 days. And these are 8 of the modules on here. There are 12 modules total. There are templates. We go through all kinds of examples for chapter 13, chapter 7, all of the things that you need to know to start a bankruptcy practice from the very beginning, just getting started. The initial intake, all of your software. I go through all of the examples of the software. I go through services that are out there to help make your practice automate better and be helpful for that. Go through bankruptcy basics. We talk about a lot of AI and ChatGPT options in those modules, and we do it in 10 hours. So December 13th and December 14th, 10 hours of bankruptcy. It is recorded. You have access to the recordings. You have access to the templates, the fee agreements, all of that's out there. But it's so much fun for me to teach this. And so we're doing a Black Friday sale on this. It is $300 off if you register by November 30th. I will put links in chat. I will put links there on the website. Use the code early. So lawyersuccessnetwork.com is the website. And the reason why this is so much fun to do live, I originally recorded this as an online course and had a lot of fun recording it. But the live version is so much more fun because of the interaction and the questions. So it is in a webinar format, so people can't see who's talking, or they can't see that you're asking questions, because sometimes people don't want anyone to know that they're asking a question. But just the number of questions we got the last time we did this in October was so much fun to see the thought process sometimes of what people are going through. And then I am capping it. The registrations are capped because I do want the ability to be able to answer all those questions. And we had so many great questions last time that enrollment will be capped. So it may sell out before November 30th. Please go online and check it out, lawyersuccessnetwork.com. And like I said, I am so thrilled to be doing this and talking about bankruptcy and the busiest day of the year being January 2nd and why and how all that works. It's the practical part of this that I really enjoy is that psychology. Why is January 2nd the busiest day? Why are there other times of the year where you can totally predict what's going to happen in your practice? It's really fun for me. And especially to pass that along to attorneys who are opening their firms for the first time, or attorneys who are adding bankruptcy as a counter-cyclical measure for other practice areas. It's really fun. So if you're interested, let me know. There, like I said, there is a discount code. It's Black Friday is the discount code, but the code is early, EARLY, all caps. And happy to answer questions or take any ideas that you have for other busy days of the year. But I will say in the first couple of modules, we talk about forecasting and forecasting demand and forecasting cash flow based on the highs and lows of the year and how the overall group of bankruptcy clients move through the system, not individual bankruptcy clients, but how the overall trend goes when you're looking at bankruptcy filings and the number of bankruptcy clients that are out there. So if you have questions, if you want to nerd out more on bankruptcy trends and things like that, let me know. I am doing a live on Thursday at 4 p.m. Central, which is 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Eastern time on ChatGPT and all the cool things that attorneys can do and some cool things bankruptcy attorneys can do with ChatGPT. So that will be my next live on Thursday. But ask questions, send them to me, jen@lawyersuccessnetwork.com, and happy to share and have all kinds of fun with people looking to add bankruptcy and understand the marketing and